everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Nerd Quiz. This is episode 4, and we are very game-centric this week. Almost all the questions are about games, board games mostly, some card games thrown in here or there as well. But we're going to get started out with my first love, literature. And that's round 1, literature. What I'm going to do is read you the first line of a science fiction or fantasy novel, and I want you to tell me the name of the author and the book itself, of course. Number 1. When he woke in the woods in the dark and the cold of the night, he'd reach out to touch the child sleeping beside him. Number 2. No one would have believed in the last years of the 19th century that this world was being watched keenly and closely by intelligences greater than man's, and yet as mortal as his own. That as men busied themselves with their various concerns, they were scrutinized and studied, perhaps almost as narrowly as a man with a microscope might scrutinize the transient creatures that swarm and multiply in a drop of water. Number 3. In the week before their departure to Arrakis, when all the final scurrying about had reached a nearly unbearable frenzy, an old crone came to visit the mother of the boy, Paul. Number 4. It was a dark and stormy night. Number 5. First, he thought it was a tidal wave. Round 2, as I said, is going to be on games, specifically Magic the Gathering here, one of my favorite games. Don't play it as much as I used to. Used to play it a lot. And we've got 5 questions on Magic the Gathering. Here we go. Number 6. Now, before he changed gaming forever with Magic the Gathering, inventor Richard Garfield created what board game for Wizards of the Coast? Number 7. What board game, first published in 1977, was a direct influence on the design of Magic the Gathering? Number 8. Take a look at a Magic the Gathering card. Flip it over, look at the back. If you ever use sleeves, you probably don't think about this, but look at that. Deckmaster. That used to mean something. Not really anymore. But, number 8, question is, what 2 other games shared the branding of Deckmaster? Number 9, where did the first Magic World Championship take place? And number 10, what magazine dedicated to Magic news and strategy ran for 41 issues before ceasing publication and migrating to the internet? Round 3 is on game pieces. I'm going to show you 5 sets of game pieces, and I want you to name the game that those pieces belong to. These are not all from the same game. These are from 5 different games, and I want you to tell me which ones are being represented by the pieces here. Number 11. Number 12. Number 13. Number 14, and number 15. And this week, for round 4, our audio component, I'm going to drop various polyhedron dice, and I want you to guess how many sides they have. Okay, ready? Here we go. Number 16. Number 17. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. All right. No. What we're going to do is play you the recordings of people playing different games, and just listening to them playing, listen to a little bit of table talk, listen to some various noises that are made by playing the games themselves, and I want you to name the game being played. Here we go, for real. Number 16.
11. So orange gets wheat, red gets wheat, and blue gets wood.
So is anyone willing to trade a sheep and give me a...
Yeah, I'll trade you wood for sheep.
Fantastic.
Number 17.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah!
God.
You got one. You're on the map.
Ready?
1, 2, 3, 4.
No, my next match.
Yes! God! Oh!
Yeah!
Oh.
I'm so good at this game.
Okay, guys.
Number 18.
I'm going to attempt to murder him for 7, or actually murder value of 8.
Because you have to use your token.
Wait, how's that 8?
It's the shoehorn. It has a murder value of 2, but in the Lancaster room it has a murder value of 7. I have 1 spite token, which raises it by 1.
Number 19.
So they head out into the deepest, darkest of deep, dark forests, and they begin the hunt for the treasure. And as they go out and find the treasure, as it turns out, is at the bottom of a well.
When Will laid down the well, I thought, oh, well, I clearly have a shot at this. I mean, everybody moved out of the way. I got them right there. All I got to do, problem is, I still have like 5 cards. Basically, everybody else is going to have to stop talking for like a half hour for me to get through these things plausibly and to reach evildoers being at the bottom of this well.
And finally, number 20.
Oké, we start.
Dit begint. Ik geloof niet dat ik thuis bij te houden.
Oh. Ja, er zit hier een dingetje in het...
Oh, er zit, ja, tuurlijk. Het zal wel
Okay, pencils down. We have reached the end, and we're here now for the answers. Let's go over it. Hope you did well. How did you fare on literature for round 1? The first quote was from The Road by Cormac McCarthy. A very bleak, very dark, post-apocalyptic novel. Number 2 is the opening passage, the very wordy but perfectly worded passage of The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. Number 3, hey, I'll bet that one word gave it away, didn't it? Arrakis. Yes, that is the planet in Dune by Frank Herbert. Number 4, It Was a Dark and Stormy Night. No, it wasn't, Snoopy. It was A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle. I hope I'm saying her last name right, but hey, you know what? Bonus if you happen to know that that is actually also the first line of a book called Paul Clifford. This goes back a ways, a couple of centuries, by Edward Bulwer Lytton. That is where that infamous first line was first used. It was borrowed for A Wrinkle in Time, and I like it. And of course Snoopy picked it up later too, and it became known as a terrible opening line, but it doesn't have to be. Number 5 was the first line from the novel The Shrinking Man by Richard Matheson. I chose this one deliberately to make it a little bit hard, but also because Richard Matheson passed away just recently. He was a great writer. The Shrinking Man is a wonderful book. You should definitely check it out. Round 2 was on Magic the Gathering. Probably not what you thought when you heard me say it. First of all, this was sort of tangentially about Magic the Gathering, going back a ways. You can be very specific and very geeky on the cards themselves, of course, and artwork or whatnot, technology, the technical aspects of the game, but I decided not to do that. A little more of the history side of the game. Number 6, before he created Magic the Gathering, Richard Garfield created a great board game called Robo Rally. It's great. I still love it. It's been around for a while, come out from a couple different companies. It's a fun game, man. Number 7, the board game that directly and greatly influenced Magic was called Cosmic Encounter. That was a board game that had multiple expansions for the game, that it got bigger, more pieces were added into it, more players were added into the game, it became a bigger game, and it changes every time you play it. And all of that was a direct influence on Magic. Richard Garfield wanted to make a card game experience, very much like Cosmic, that changed constantly. And hey, it works. Number 8. The other 2 games that had that Deckmaster labeling on them were Jihad, which then later became Vampire: The Eternal Struggle, because everybody is afraid of the word jihad, and of course Netrunner, which I think is still around, or at least popular with a few folks that I know, and that makes it still around in my mind. Number 9, the first Magic World Championship took place at Gen Con in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The date was 1994. Eventually, Magic was, for a short while anyway, broadcast on ESPN. Did you see that? Did you miss it? Probably did. So did everybody else. Number 10, the magazine dedicated to Magic news and strategy was The Duelist. And they would give away freebies every now and then, but of course when the internet came along and killed a bunch of magazines, it migrated into Magic the Gathering website, which is fantastic. Great place for strategy and news right now. It is chock full of greatness. Round 3 on game pieces. Did you recognize them? Number 11, those are the pieces from the board game Hero Quest. I painted that skeleton myself. Number 12, those are the jewelry pieces from Queen's Necklace. Number 13, those are tiles taken from a game called Kingdoms, created by the great and legendary Reiner Knizia, a veritable giant among game creators. Number 14, also created by Reiner Knizia, that is a game called Dragon Parade. Very cool bits in that one. And number 15, don't know if you know this or not, these are for the hardcore gamers, perhaps, but those are the 2 pieces from Babel. Those are representative of building blocks or stone blocks used to make temples and pyramids and things like that, in which you do in the game Babel. And round 4 was not on dice, it was on people playing games. What were these guys playing? Number 16, they were playing the very popular Settlers of Catan. And yeah, that's Wesley Crusher right there. Hey Wesley, how you doing? All grown up, man. You were great in Stand By Me. Number 17, they were playing Hungry Hungry Hippos. Not the greatest game in the world, but fun for kids and teenagers, apparently. Number 18, those folks were sitting around the coffee table playing Kill Dr. Lucky. Very fun game from Cheap Ass Games, which doesn't really exist anymore, but some of their games are still out there and people are playing them. Number 19, once again, Wesley Crusher was sitting around the table with some folks, and they were playing Once Upon a Time, a great fairy tale story-playing game. Story-playing game? Storytelling game. And yeah, story-playing game. That's a new thing I just made up. It's a story-playing game. And number 20, those folks were playing the ancient game of chess. And here we are at the end one more time. This was number 4, right? So this is the 4th time I've done a little ramble here at the end. I wanted to talk about Magic the Gathering really quickly. I don't play it very much anymore because it's kind of expensive to really get into the game as much as I could, and I don't have a lot of people around me who play it, but I used to. And one of my greatest memories of living in the city of Asheville, one of my favorite memories of all really, was just going to a place that's not there anymore. It's a bar called Vincent's Ear. And upstairs on one night of the week, they had a bunch of folks who gathered together to play Magic. And I learned about it, built up my confidence, and one day boldly went up those stairs above the rising smoke of the bar, and I whipped out my Curd Ape deck. My favorite card in Magic is the Curd Ape. It was common back then, and it was banned for a while because it was way too strong, but now all the cards are way too strong. Another reason why I don't play. But I played Curd Apes. It was nothing but common cards in that deck, and I obliterated all night long, and there was a great band downstairs. They were playing, rocking out. They were called the Average White Band. No. That's the band from the 70s. These guys are called the Average Black Band, and they had one white guy in it, and he always said he's what made them average. But they were awesome, and they went to the same school I did, and they were rocking, and I was having a great time, just hanging out with people, making friends, winning a bunch of games of Magic the Gathering. It was fantastic. Still one of my favorite memories. Thanks, guys, for going down that little lane with me here. Anyway, one more time, thank you, Nine Inch Nails, for the use of your great music. There's a whole bunch of other tracks I want to use somewhere, sometime, and I'll utilize those maybe. And thank you all for listening or watching. This is a video, after all. I do tend to forget that when I'm recording. But thank you very much for watching, for sticking around, for playing along. I hope you keep coming back. And thank you, the internet, everybody here watching. Go out and have fun and be nerdly and do amazing things on the internet. Yeah. See you later.